The Brown versus Board of Education started in 1951 when Linda's father filed a lawsuit. 13 other parents and him tried to enroll their students in white elementary schools, but the school said no because they were black. They then complained to Topeka Board of Education. Since Oliver Brown was the first to complain to the board, the case was called Brown versus Board of Education. The parents said that they weren't treated the same because they were black. They brought the case to state court, but the case got overturned. By this time, the blacks and whites weren't able to eat at the same restaurant, not drink from the same water fountain. Since they lost, they brought the case to the Supreme Court. There were similar cases in South Carolina, Virginia, and Delaware, so they joined as one. The lawyers saw no problem with blacks going to black schools, but there was no proof that black children were different than everyone else.
The Brown versus Board of Education case took place between the years of 1954 and 1955. It happened in Topeka, Kansas, and there was 11 similar cases in that same place. It happened to win equal rights between black and whites. The Brown decision was significant because it overturned the separate but equal doctrine established by the decision of Plessy. The 14th Amendment guarantees equal protection under the law, and the court ruled that separate facilities based on race were unequal. Because of Board of Education, the 14th Amendment was made. One piece of evidence that greatly influenced the Supreme Court decision was research. They presented children as young as 3 with white and brown dolls. Overall, the children rejected the brown dolls when asked to pick which one they liked the best. This is another reason why the Congress was influenced to make the 14th Amendment. It took the court a lot of trials before having equality. Education in public schools is a right which must be made available to all equal terms. And although they said that, they favored white people over black people. The colored people were affected by the way they were learning because of this favoritism. Brown versus Board of Education was one of the most historical cases in history. This case took place in school. If it wasn't because of the Brown versus Board of Education case, we would probably still have segregation today.
This is the timeline of the events that happened during the Brown versus Board of Education. In 1950, the law to create a new school for blacks and whites was rejected in Texas. In 1958, 10,000 students marched in Washington, D.C. to support the segregation. 1959, white students attend private academies, and black students do not start school until 1963. In 1963, 62% of Americans, 73% of Northerners, and 31% of Southerners believed that blacks and whites should attend the same school.
Two African American students, Vivian Malone and James A. Hood, were able to attend a white university school. 1973, the Rehabilitation Act is passed prohibiting schools from discriminations against blacks and whites. 1988, 45% of black students in the United States are attending more white schools. And 2004, it's the 50th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education. After a year, the Supreme Court finally heard something about the case. Finally, it ended in May 17, 1959, 3 years since it started. They agreed it was not fair that the whites and blacks were indifferent, but it still took many years for other states to put whites and blacks together.